sees us. Hi, first let me apologize to you. I came to you last time out of a place of fear and anger, and I offer my sincere apology. I'm coming to you from the heart today as a mother who loves her children and doesn't want any harm to come to them. So please accept my apology for where I came from last time. I want to read a couple of stories. These are children. Roy, age 17, star soccer player, received his first dose of J&J August 13th. Within 1 hour of receiving the shot, Roy was vomiting and having convulsions. He had to be put in a medically induced coma. He suffered a hemorrhagic stroke and died August 17th. Isabella, age 15, received her first dose of Pfizer on August 25th. Soon after, she developed headaches and dizziness. She began bleeding from her nose and her mouth, and she died September 2nd from cardiac arrest. Ernesto, age 16, first dose of Pfizer April 19th. 5 days later, his heart became enlarged and he collapsed and died from cardiac arrest from the vaccine. Jacob Kleinick of Michigan, age 13, died 3 days following his second dose of the Pfizer vaccine from an enlarged heart as a result of the vaccine. This breaks my heart. It breaks my heart, and it should break yours. Can you imagine these mothers? There is no reason for this mandate. There is no good reason. When I've said to you before, there is a 1 in 174,803 chance of a child in that age range dying from COVID. But there is a 1 in 1,000 chance of a child dying from the vaccine. How could I be a good mother and bet against those odds? Those are the numbers from the CDC, from theirs. Please, please recognize that. And the fact remains that children are not dropping dead from COVID-19. Far from it. They are dying from the vaccine. And the CDC numbers and the VAERS numbers show that. And if you have children, I would hope that you would want to do anything to protect them and not give them something that has a greater chance of killing them than the actual disease. My 3 girls had COVID. 1 day they recovered. And now they have high antibody levels, and they would be the most protected people. They would protect all the other children more than this vaccine is going to do. 21 times more, according to the Israel study. Please don't make me rip my children from the Torrance schools that they love, from the teachers they love, from the kids they grew up with.
Today I'm speaking about the non-systemical COVID restrictions and mandates that have been and are currently harming us. Not only is our education being compromised, but also our psychological health and physical well-being as well. This has unfortunately become a nationwide issue. However, today is focused on California specifically. It has been reported in California by multiple news sources, including ABC7.
Please wear your mask properly. Thank you. There are individuals who are making outbursts from the audience disrupting the speaker. Ms. Ruiz, I will give you your 3 minutes. Just hold on 1 second. There are those who are making outbursts from the audience, disrupting the speaker, disrupting this meeting. If this continues, I can
intentional conduct by these individuals in attendance, making this open session unfeasible and therefore willfully interrupting the board meeting, yelling from the audience. As authorized by the California Government Code, Brown Act 54957.9, I can direct all persons to leave this room and conduct the meeting with only the board and cabinet present. So I don't want to have to do that, but please be respectful of all speakers and this board meeting. And please let her speak so you do not interrupt the speakers. Thank you. Sorry again. Okay, go ahead, Ms. Ruiz.
Hello, my name is Annalisa Ruiz. I am a sophomore at North High School. Today I'm speaking about the nonsensical COVID restrictions and mandates that have been and are currently harming us. Not only is our education being compromised, but also our psychological health and physical well-being as well. This has unfortunately become a nationwide issue. However, today is focused on California specifically. It has been reported in California by multiple news sources, including ABC7, that during the height of the pandemic, doctors reported that they have seen years' worth of suicide attempts, while other doctors reported they saw more suicide deaths than COVID in teens. Although this can be seen as an anecdotal, it is important to highlight the reality of the damage to mental health that the rules and mandates regarding COVID-19 have caused. The sense of normalcy has died and are living in what feels like a medical police state, where we are divided and taught to fear everything, giving up bodily autonomy, giving up privacy, and judge everyone's personal medical decisions. Additionally, nonsensical privileges are guaranteed to specific people. In this case, it is those who are vaccinated. A clear example of these nonsensical privileges was seen just last week during this year's homecoming. The unvaccinated had a test for COVID prior to attendance, but the vaccinated did not need to. If the sole promise of these COVID rules and to keep us safe from the virus, then why do those vaccinated have special privileges over the non-vaccinated? This is a question I ask myself every day, and this is a question that brings us all here today. We know the vaccine serves purpose of preventing the spread of COVID-19 within the lungs, but as admitted by the CDC, this does not mean the vaccine makes you fully immune to the virus. Regardless of the vaccination status, anyone can get COVID and anyone can spread it. Additionally, this overall survival rate of COVID remains very high. And in the same way, these rules and mandates are propped up by arguing that the vaccine makes it less likely that one will die from COVID. I can agree the same for the unvaccinated, especially for the vast majority of healthy children and teens. We as children and teens naturally as much of a risk of getting severely ill from COVID-19, and studies have shown that students and teachers very rarely spread COVID to each other, as highlighted in 3 studies that came from Duke University, Sweden, and Norway. Not to mention that the flu tends to negatively affect children at a higher rate than COVID has shown. Now, multiple studies, including a recent study posted on the International Journal of Clinical Practice. Yet, these rules and mandates were not existed even during the 2017 through 18 flu year, which was very recent and resulted in a lot of sickness and death in children and adults. Considering schools are a place for education, we should force the facts. So the question that remains today is whether or not my education, bodily autonomy, and mental health is more or less important than these nonsensical rules and mandates. Thank you.
Heather, if you may please come up to talk about mandates. Heather?
First, I just want to start off by welcoming any FBI agents that may be in attendance tonight. Not the best use of your time, as I'll be peacefully speaking to you today with my credentials, which are the First Amendment.
Put the mask over your nose, please. Thank you, Heather.
How many times are we going to do this? Just wondering.
It depends on how many times.
Okay, it just slips down.
Yeah.
So this is kind of what I wanted to address tonight. This kind of environment that you're creating is chaotic. This is chaos. This is what's happening at our schools when our students' masks might fall down. They're getting in trouble. They're getting ridiculed. You're creating an
Can you hold
environment.
the mask up, please?
So you have our children believing that their friends are diseased and that unvaccinated people are, the others and not worthy of participating in society. And you guys are responsible for that to a degree for our schools, and our other public servants are responsible for that in our community at large. And I believe this is not about safety. It's about shaming. And what happens to letting our people or our students, I try to teach my children to make good decisions. And if they don't make a good decision, then, then they have to deal with the subsequent action from that. But what's happening right now is our children are being forced to adopt the agenda of bureaucrats, council members, board members, and unfortunately their teachers as well. And that's called tyranny in most circles. I, on the other hand, and probably most of the people in this room, believe that liberty is not a figment of our imagination. I don't just throw that word around or use it as a selfish justification for my behavior or personal interests, but it's something that is a fundamental aspect of my being. Liberty and my agency is a characteristic that was given to me by my God. You don't have to agree, and you have that right and that choice, just as I believe that I have a right to not believe or agree with your mandates on our children. These mandates are setting a horrible precedent that the government has the authority to tell you what to do with your body. I have no business telling someone to get an abortion or not, per se, just as I also have no business telling someone they have to get vaccinated. I can tell you what I believe regarding both of those subjects, but ultimately, those decisions are a subject of bodily autonomy. And if you're excited by the notion that you can force things into other people's bodies, congratulations, you have a lot in common with sexual predators. Regarding the mandates, when it comes to the vaccine, I think that will be the final straw for many parents here. I don't know if you saw the walkout today. I don't know what your numbers were on how many students or teachers did not attend, but our crowd is getting bigger, and we're not going to stop. We've attended, and I watched these board meetings, and unfortunately, I'm well aware that you guys could care less. My mask falls down for 4 seconds, and you're hissing at me from there.
Thank you, Heather, for speaking.
From you, by the way.
Our next speaker is Ms. Denise Robinson.
Hey, I'm not going to the mic because she was at the mic, and she could have gave it to me. And either way, I want my voice heard.
Yes,
I don't know.
at this meeting, you are definitely
I don't know.
to speak at a monitor outside, and we have prepared a monitor and a microphone for you to speak outside if you would not like.
Let me talk. It's my time now. So,
We need you to speak at the microphone, otherwise you cannot
you
record.
need to apologize, okay, to us. That is heartbreaking.
Ms. Robinson, if you're not going to be using a mask, please speak outside. We can't hear you. I would very much like for you to speak, Ms. Robinson, but I can't understand you without the microphone.
That should be your choice. I am here with all due respect. With
Ms.
all
Robinson,
due respect.
are you forfeiting your turn to speak?
I have
Please go to the hallway and speak using the microphone outside.
You guys can make it.
I shall move on to the next speaker if you do not follow the rules.
We did our research for our children.
Our next speaker is
I took
Mia.
my children out.
Mia is going to be talking about vaccines and mask mandates.
And what are you going to do with your funding? You're not going to have all that funding you guys just mentioned for 30 minutes. You won't have it if
you do understand you have 3 minutes.
and take their children out. Do you guys understand this is a severity for you and us? It's not just, this is working together. Let's work together.
I need you to wear your mask or speak outside.
Please do
I am going to move on.
research.
Thank you, Ms.
Allow God to talk to me while I was in here. I
Robinson.
didn't hear a speech. And let me
All right.
tell you, if you are helping our
Yeah, you are
students,
next.
my
I am sorry
children,
this
their
person is being
children,
confined.
you would take off your mask and be the example for our next generation.
Ms.
You
Robinson.
guys are our school system. We
Ms.
trust you
Robinson,
guys.
you want
We
to-
trust the school with our children.
Please comply
You
with
have
the
no
law,
idea
the law
how hard
and
that
wear your
is.
mask. Otherwise, I can declare it to be intentional conduct.
I will wear a
Thank
mask.
you.
I'll wear a mask, okay?
Thank you.
I couldn't understand you guys. I don't know who was speaking because I can't understand you guys. I can't follow through with you guys. My children, I do not want my children not knowing what's going on because they can't see you. They can't see people through this. You know how many, your employees were in here and we couldn't
Please
even
wear your
talk to
mask.
them and like really congratulate them.
Your time is almost up.
You guys, come on, stand up with us. That's all we're asking for you guys to stand up for us. Our next generations need leaders.
Our next speaker is Mia.
I am here with all due
Mia is
respect.
going to talk about vaccine and mask mandates also.
Good evening, Patriots. My name is Mia. I just wanted to remind you that God made us all perfect, so no one should be forced to wear a mask or to get a vaccine, especially in order to have the right to learn or to have a job. Thank you, and keep fighting.
Thank you, Mia. Thank you, Mia, for your comments. And since you are underage, we greatly encourage our youth and our students to come up and speak and follow the rules. Thank you. Next speaker is Melissa Vargas. Ms. Vargas is going to talk about student health and new vaccine mandates.
Hello. I am here as a concerned mother of four, a concerned citizen, and a concerned taxpayer that our constitutional rights are being overlooked by Governor Newsom's new vaccine mandate for children. If we were really in a pandemic and state of emergency, why has there been zero transmission of COVID-19 in our schools? Temperature checks and health questionnaires are no longer necessary. Why would there need to be any more mandates for our children? The CDC stated that the COVID-19 vaccines don't prevent transmission. An Israeli study with 2.5 million patients found that the vaccinated were 7 times more likely to get COVID than the people who got COVID naturally. If you read the vaccine inserts and FDA.gov website regarding the COVID-19 vaccines, it lists all the risks that patients have already experienced. And it is astonishing that this is something being considered to be mandated for our children who are still growing. Did you know the report shows 12 to 17-year-olds have the highest risk of myocarditis and pericarditis with the COVID-19 vaccines? The CDC report shows ages 6 to 17 years of age are already at 24,349 adverse reactions to the COVID-19 vaccine. Out of that number, 153 children are now permanently disabled. 38 children have died, and this number is updated weekly. Do those children that have suffered an adverse reaction, that have died and are now permanently disabled, not matter to anyone? Since there are risks with these vaccines, there has to be a choice for our children. No one should lose their choice for health and education when we live in a country that fights for freedom. We need to stand up together. We need to stand up together for what is right, for have choice and not to be mandated an experimental vaccine and not knowing the long-term effects that this will have in our children. So board, I ask you to please support parents and children and make a plan now for freedom of choice on this issue for our district. Every child is unique and different. We have to be the children's voices. This vaccine isn't a one-size-fits-all or immunity to this virus. The ball is in your court for the children of the city of Torrance. Otherwise, you guys will be held accountable for every child that dies or has an adverse reaction. If this is mandated for our children to go to school, we hope you support the parents on this unlawful mandate and do what's best for our children for their long-term mental, social, and physical health. Thank you for hearing me today.
In order of the cards that come in, our next speaker is Maribeth Borowski.
Good evening, school board and cabinet. The school board is fully aware of a violent incident that happened at Magruder Middle School against a teacher. Many teachers have already written letters in support of this teacher. We have also asked the school board to update the matrix so that it coincides with current laws and request that there be transparency with these changes. We ask that you protect our teachers and our right to be safe at work. And I just also want to address this mask mandate. I'm a teacher. I teach 7th grade social studies, and I've been back at school ever since we were allowed to go back in person. And the kids are learning, kids wear their masks, the kids are interacting with each other, and they're complying with the rules on the playground, in the classrooms, and there's learning occurring, and it is working just great. So I applaud all of the students that comply and wear their masks. I applaud everyone in this room that supports what the rules are and follows the rules. So thank you, board. I'm sorry that you have to put up with all of this, but thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lasky. Someone's going to talk about mandates. Our next speaker card is Summer. The last call, Summer, are you here?
Hello again. Sorry, give me one second. I know. So I'm not going to take a lot of time tonight to tell you that you're wrong because you already know that. And what you're doing is wrong. I've spent enough time up here wasting to tell you how bad these vaccines can be for children and masks and all of that. And the thing is that everything that you're doing is just illegal. You think that you're following some rules and you're calling them laws, but it doesn't make them laws. Forcing mask mandates, forcing discrimination of the unvaccinated and testing, you guys are breaking laws, and trust me, we're gonna show you that. As you can see, our group is growing. There has to be almost 100 people here tonight, and I am so happy to see it. Betty Lou, your time is running out. You answer to us, not the other way around. And anyone on this board that wants to follow in her footsteps, your time is also running out. The parents are awake. We accept our responsibility that we let someone like you get onto this board. But we're taking that responsibility now, and we're not backing down, no matter what you say. We will not stop until this mask abuse, the discrimination, and the sexualization and the racism stops in our schools. I don't know why you want to be on that side of history, but I guess everyone has a price. Thank you for your time.
Our next speaker is Brian. Hi, Mr. Carpio.
Good evening. Thank you for your time. And happy 581 days to slow the spread, everybody. You guys really took the new normal seriously, didn't you? I mean, how much longer are we going to dehumanize our kids? My daughter's only 6 and she's yet to have a normal school year since initially being yanked out of preschool. You guys can call it normal all you want, but this is anything but until these masks are off our kids' faces. You know, the US is one of the few countries that still does this to kids. And, you know, we're abundantly cautious about spreading COVID, a respiratory virus in schools, but yet we're shockingly lax about the potential psychological, developmental, and social harms that masking children 30 plus hours a week. How does this make sense to anybody? We had to email our administrator at our girls' school 3 times because the PE teacher and the music teacher were still forcing the kids to wear masks outside during PE and music class, even if the mask fell below the nose. You know, the rule is from the CDC that the kids don't have to wear masks outside, and yet that's not happening in the schools. That should have been something that would be celebrated by all the administrators and all the teachers to finally let the kids breathe, especially outside. But yet, I see all the teachers and all the administrators still wearing them outside, and I've talked to some teachers, and they said that they're encouraged to wear them outside still, which in turn gives the illusion that the kids need to wear them outside as well. That is not cool. You know, everybody always is talking up there about low enrollment, teachers that are absent constantly, having a hard time filling substitute roles, having a hard time finding custodians, people not wanting to work. Well, I'll tell you why, is because we're all sick and tired of this. We're sick and tired of the state, the county, our local city, our school board, everybody telling us what to do and what to do especially to our children. We're sick and tired of it. And you know, the anxiety and the stress of working period before all this was one thing, but this has just compounded it to an nth degree. And just people are sick and tired of it. All we want to do is breathe at this point. So please, the time is now to fight back. Get together with our city. Get together with other school boards, other school districts, and fight back against Newsom. He's the only one. Fight back! He's the only one that is mandating vaccines in the entire United States. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Dr. Sarah Henning. Dr. Canning, please come up and speak about mandates.
Hello, I'm the concerned parent of 2 Torrance Unified students. I'm here because I'm worried that our rights as parents are being infringed upon by the government of California and the US government. I'm hoping that the Torrance Unified School District will consider how many parents in this district feel and not just go along with the state's mandate to force our kids to get this unnecessary shot. You have the power to fight back. This vaccine is not without its issues. According to the CDC's VAERS system, there have been around 700,000 reports of adverse effects following the COVID vaccination. There have also been almost 15,000 deaths and over 91,000 serious injuries between December 14th, 2020 and September 10th, 2021. Not to mention the fact that this vaccine does not stop the spread of the virus. Fully vaccinated people can carry just as much virus as someone who is unvaccinated, so there is no stopping the spread here. Also, what about breakthrough cases? There have been several reports of people who are fully vaccinated and are still getting sick with COVID.
The other issue here is that our kids are not at all in a high-risk group. COVID is not like the other childhood diseases where kids are particularly susceptible to illness, like chickenpox. The majority of the illnesses and deaths are in people over the age of 65 who have pre-existing health conditions. This virus is not, by and large, killing the young and healthy. So why do our students need to be vaccinated? And if parents choose to vaccinate their child, they should certainly be free to do so. But if the vaccine works and protects those who have it, how can the unvaccinated pose any risk to the vaccinated? The majority of people who get vaccinated probably see no ill effects from it, but kids have died after receiving these vaccines, as we've already heard. And the 13-year-old boy you've already heard about, Jacob Kleinig from Michigan, who died in his sleep after receiving his second dose of Pfizer vaccine 2 days later. Unfortunately, this is not an isolated incident. Would you be willing to take this risk with the life of your child? I am not. Especially for a vaccine that seems ineffective, unnecessary, and potentially harmful. This vaccine has had more adverse effects than any other vaccine in history. I understand the motivation to just go along with all of this because many people believe this is the way to end the pandemic, but this is overly simplistic and short-sighted. Shots are not the only, and I would argue not the best path to health. A COVID vaccine will not make you healthy. Wise lifestyle choices would go farther to protecting people's health than any shot, but people don't want to talk about that. Why not limit junk food, alcohol, and tobacco? No one wants to do that, and I'm not saying we should either. But the point is, if that did happen, there'd be rioting in the streets because people would consider it an infringement on their freedom, which it would be. I'm not advocating this, but it would have a much greater impact on the health of the population than a shot for one virus. The bottom line is that the survival rate for COVID, especially for school-aged children, is over 99%. This vaccine is unnecessary, and the measures taken to force people to get it are draconian and go against individual liberty. No American should be willing to sacrifice their liberty for a little potential temporary safety. We should be able to engage in civil
mic is turned off.
and be allowed to choose.